Murder, Death, Kill, Mission, Deliver Kindness, Max, Doctor, Kurt, and Mother's Day Kisses. These are all phrases suggested to represent an acronym, one simply known as MDK, a duo of games from 1997 and 2000 that have now seemed to be mired in obscurity. But today, I will put a stop to that, or at least try. MDK was made by Shiny Entertainment and published by Playmates Entertainment and Interplay in 1997. If Shiny Entertainment sounds familiar, you may remember them as the group that made the two original Earthworm Jim games, and also some other stuff, but mostly the Earthworm Jim games. In fact, this was their third outing following the second Earthworm Jim in 1995, and MDK is very much in the same style of humorous platforming and shooting that their previous games did so well. 1997 was also smack dab in the middle of 3D gaming's renaissance. I mean, just in that year, we got Mario Kart 64, Tekken 3, Star Fox 64, GoldenEye 007, Crash Bandicoot 2, and Quake 2, all released the same year in 1997. MDK was originally a PC and Mac release, though around half a year later it got a port on the PlayStation. It was the very first PC game to require a processor on par with a Pentium, and was highly praised at the time for its groundbreaking graphics and stellar gameplay. I have a lot of fond memories with this game from my childhood. My grandfather had one of those original Macs and a CD copy of this game. I don't know how or why he acquired it, but I'd almost always play it when I came over to visit as a kid. But it was only until a few years ago that my interest in the series was picked up again, and that was when the sequel was given a re-release on WiiWare. I downloaded and played the hell out of that, and now I have the original back on my computer. I've come full circle, so let me show you a bit about MDK. The story is a very simple one, like many games of the past, almost entirely told through the game's manual, which I don't have. Luckily, the sequel, MDK 2, recaps the events of the first game in a cool comic book style with narration, so let me play that now.
Kurt Hectic never wanted to be a hero. He was content with his life and wanted to live out his years in quiet, dignified anonymity. Sadly, it was not to be. Kurt was employed as a janitor for Dr. Fluke Hawkins, eccentric man of science. The messes were large, but the pay was good, so when Hawkins left, Kurt followed. Little did he know what was to come. The doctor had wished for a place away from his detractors, away from those that thought him mad. With janitor in tow, he left the earth, vowing to return only when his genius was proven. The greatest of the doctor's inventions in exile was the six-legged canine, Max. Max was the perfect assistant, and his appreciation of firepower made him a fine watchdog as well. All was peaceful until the invasion. Aliens from a strange dimension attacked the Earth, arriving on energy streams and landing great mine crawlers to destroy everything in their path. The forces of Earth were helpless before the onslaught. Dr. Hawkins had to act. Kurt was outfitted in an untested coil suit and sent to try and disable the machines. He was reluctant, but he had no choice. He was the Earth's last hope. Kurt fought valiantly, driving to the very heart of the invasion. There he challenged the alien leader, a grotesque creature named Gunter Glatt, and with Max's aid, Kurt was victorious. As their leader fell, the invasion crumbled and the aliens retreated, their tails between their legs. In their wake, they left the Earth battered, despoiled, even ruined, but not beaten. No, not beaten.
Anywho, MDK is first and foremost a third-person shooter with lots of platforming elements. And by the way, if the visuals don't scream 90s to you, the default controls will. They're bloody awful. So if you ever play this, for Christ's sake, remap the buttons. You'll thank me. Kurt can do many things with his coil suit. Shoot, jump, glide with a deployable parachute, and utilize the sniper gun to make precise shots or fire special ammo. In addition to all this, Kurt will find many items provided by the Doctor or left strewn around the stage, such as different bullets for the sniper, grenades, a souped-up chain gun, and my favorite, the dummy decoy. Literally the second this glorified airbag on wheels gets set out, every single enemy stops immediately what they're doing and shoots it. Then there are these, the world's smallest nuclear explosions in a can. Sounds awesome, but they're basically just door keys. Wah wah. Each stage is broken up into multiple parts. In the beginning, you halo jump to the mine crawler from Dr. Hawkins' orbiting facility, the Jim Dandy, and must avoid the radar and subsequent missiles sent at you while picking up items airlifted to you by the Doctor. On the enemy base, each stage is essentially broken up into mini arenas where you typically need to platform from A to B, defeat all the enemies, solve some sort of puzzle, etc., with long twisty corridors in between them. It may seem pointless, but these are actually a pretty ingenious way of hiding load times that later games like the Metroid Prime series would utilize. Neato! Each area is almost wholly unique with different things to do, enemies to face, and items to acquire, and the varying terrain and obstacles to deal with are perfect at curbing repetitiveness, even if it's as simple as replacing the corridor load areas with a slide or a snowboard section. At the end of each stage, you have a boss battle of sorts, and these can be sometimes more puzzle-like in exactly what you need to do or where you need to shoot, and depending on what you have with you, some battles can last only a minute or so. Once the boss is defeated, the minecrawler disintegrates and gets sucked back to the alien planet on a stream with Kurt dragged in tow, but not before being rescued by Max, who brings you back to the Jim Dandy. Boom bop kablooey, 4 stages in and 4 minecrawlers destroyed, things take a turn for the worse when Max accidentally falls to the crawler with you, and the both of you are taken back to the alien homeworld as a result. But, thanks to Max's help, you defeat the alien leader Gunter Glut, ending the alien menace to Earth. For now. And then you get this weird, disturbing, what the fuck ending sequence of the game's promo footage and this French pop song. Okay then? And that's MDK. Overall, still loads of fun, even if it's a bit dated with a lot of bland textures and a couple progression bugs, though that could just be the Steam release that I was saddled with playing. The game is also really, really short. Like, you can beat the whole thing in about 2 hours if you know what you're doing, and I did. Multiple times. But once I was done, I always wanted to replay it right away, just to see if I could do better. MDK is just a blast to play with its fast pace, humorous interactions, and absolutely amazing original soundtrack, courtesy of Tommy Tallarico. Seriously, it's worth playing just to listen to the awesome stuff he made for this game. MDK received high praise and reviews upon its release, but curiously, Shiny Entertainment would not go to work on the sequel. Instead, it would be BioWare, who at the time just had Shattered Steel and Baldur's Gate under their helm, when they were contracted by Interplay to develop MDK2 using their Omen engine. The game was released in 2000 for Dreamcast and PC, with a slightly revised port including difficulty options being released for the PlayStation 2 the following year, titled MDK2 Armageddon. The game was also remade for a WiiWare release in 2011 by Beamdog, which is how I first played it, and the same year Overhaul released an HD remake on Steam. The story of MDK2 takes place basically a few minutes after the end of MDK. Kurt, Max, and Dr. Hawkins are celebrating their victory over the aliens when reports of another minecrawler appear, so Kurt is sent to stop them.
530. Good gravy! That's Edmonton!
Kurt succeeds, but an alien general named Schwang Schwing kidnaps Kurt, forcing Max and then Dr. Hawkins into the battle, eventually leading to the three traveling to the aliens' homeworld, Swizzle Firma, where they encounter the aliens' leader Zizi Baluba, who turns out to have just invaded Earth out of boredom. The heroes defeat Emperor Baluba, and depending on the character you pick to play as in the final level, Kurt abandons the hero spotlight to return to quiet janitorial work, Max becomes the new Emperor of Swizzle Firma, or Dr. Hawkins finally returns to Earth a hero and his genius proven. Just like the first game, the story of MDK2 is all laughs and no substance. Like if they'd taken one of hundreds of old retro games with nonsense stories, didn't change anything, but pumped up the display with cutscenes and voiceover. And it works! MDK2 along with its predecessor is a hilarious game. Even more so, I'd find, thanks in part to the witty writing, great voice acting, and effective character expressions, even with the super blocky polygons. The gameplay also benefits from the advances in technology. Kurt plays basically the same as he did in MDK. His chain gun, sniper, and parachute all remain intact, but his level design is much more focused around using the sniper to shoot these glowing blue switches in various puzzles, and sections where using a cloak to slip by enemies would be preferable to fighting them. Max and Dr. Hawkins are also playable now, and they have very different modes of play. Max is all about shooting, with his main feature being 4 arms to equip separate weapons to at any time. He doesn't have any puzzle play, but Max does don a jetpack for various flying sections. Dr. Hawkins, on the other hand, is almost all platforming and puzzle solving. He gets a diverse inventory for both his left and right hand, and by combining items he can perform various actions, like stuffing rags into booze bottles to create Molotovs, and then activating them with a lighter, or using an atomic toaster to turn bread into a lethal weapon. Overall, all 3 characters are a blast to play with, even if a good 70% of Max's stages can be boiled down to W plus M1. To me, it's because of the music. Still awesome, just like the original, and definitely worth a listen to. But there are many problems I found in my most recent run. For one, a lot of the Doc's platforming can be quite frustrating because of his low jump and inability to climb. Some of Kurt's sniper puzzles can also be a bit frustrating, like this one with the tornado orbs. Ugh, you need to be above them to get the updraft. Thankfully, this is all alleviated thanks to your ability to quick save at any time, which curbs a lot of the anger. However, there are no natural checkpoints that I ever discovered, so hit F6. A lot. But the positives far outweigh the negatives for me. In the end, both MDK and MDK2 are straight up unsung classics, and it's a shame to see them so underrepresented and unknown in the gaming sphere nowadays. MDK2 also received good reviews upon its release, but the series was basically forgotten afterwards. There were talks around 2007 of a possible third game being in the works, but no news of it yet. If you're ever in the mood for a fun action platformer with a sense of humor, you could do much worse than checking out these games of yore. Your best bet for either game is Good Old Games, because they're cheaper, and the Steam version just has way too many issues, including MDK2 being unplayable. Thanks for wasting my money with your non-return policy, jerks. However, the WiiWare port of MDK2 is also worth playing. The audio does have a few issues, but the Wiimote controls are actually really good, and it gives you a cursor that makes aiming much easier, which in my eyes makes it the superior version. Have a nice Mother's Day, and be sure to thank your mom today for everything she's done for you. This has been Model Omega, and thanks for watching.
Nasty. Ow! Behind me!
Doctor, aren't you forgetting something?
Pants on, zippers up. I'm ready to go.
Wash your hands, Doctor. Doctor, go wash your hands.
Now listen here. You let me out this instant.
Don't you dare touch that door.
Look, you. Let me out. You let me out.
Doctor, if you dirty my ship with filthy hands, I'll do this to you. You can't beat the aliens with bad hygiene.
Open this door.
Ugh. I wouldn't eat any toast with those hands.
Listen, if you think you're going to let me out.
You are dirtier than those things in the lounge.
What things?
You'll never find out if you don't wash your hands. You filthy animal. I knew I never should have let you on my ship. I should eject you into space this instant.
Look, I don't need to. Let me out of here!
That's it. No more chances.